Hi everyone, my name is Megan Hamp, and I'm a master's student in the Grogan lab at Queen's University in the biology department. As an ecologist, I firmly believe that the weirder you look while doing fieldwork, the more exciting the science is. And my project up at QUBS has really stayed true to this belief. If you happen to be driving or biking down a Pinnakin road, you may see us walking around this hayfield, also known as Stokes Field, and partaking in some strange and seemingly purposeless activities. Let me rationalize some of the things we're doing here so we don't seem quite as silly as we look. First of all, I'm in this lovely hayfield because I want to know how atmospheric nitrogen deposition and different soil textures will affect the ability of grasslands to take up and store carbon. Nitrogen compounds released into the atmosphere during fossil fuel combustion subsequently fall back down to the Earth's surface, resulting in ecologically significant fertilization effects. My research aims to understand how increases in nitrogen deposition will affect grassland ecosystems. More specifically, I'm looking to understand how anticipated increases in nitrogen deposition over the next 50 years will affect grassland plant species diversity, ecosystem carbon storage, and hay crop quality over the long term and on different soil textures. So let me tell you what we did last summer. First, we sprinkled nitrogen fertilizer on the plots to simulate the atmospheric nitrogen deposition. We've been doing this annual fertilization experiment for about 16 years. Then, we spent the next 2 months of the summer recording ecosystem carbon dioxide fluxes, i.e., the change in concentration of carbon dioxide over time in this chamber above. Finally, in August, we did a biomass harvest where we identified all the plants to species level and collected them in bags to be weighed. And if that wasn't enough, we also dug up a huge chunk of soil so that we could do the same for the roots. So now you might be thinking, well, yes, this does all look very weird if I were to see it alongside a Pinnakin road. But what's the exciting part? Well, so far we've learned that yes, nitrogen does matter. But soil texture seems to matter even more and plays a huge role in whether the plant community will be able to take advantage of the nitrogen in the first place. This is important for carbon sequestration because it tells us that carbon storage on marginal soils, for example, sandy soils, isn't a good place to bet on, but that fertile soils in the area that are experiencing fertilization effects from nitrogen deposition could be an area to focus on for the future planning and long-term carbon uptake. These findings may also be helpful for farmers, as it shows us that nitrogen only goes so far as the texture of the soil will allow in improving plant productivity and therefore crop quality. The research I am working on at Stokes Field will build on previous findings through a detailed investigation of the interaction between soil texture and atmospheric nitrogen deposition in determining plant community structure and functioning. Specifically, investigation into the metrics of plant community diversity, plant productivity, and carbon fluxes will help provide a baseline understanding of how plant species growing on different soil textures will vary in response to nitrogen deposition. My goal is that my research will help to refine estimates of future land-based carbon emissions and sinks in grasslands to improve predictive models, as well as to educate communities, stakeholders, and policymakers on terrestrial carbon in Canada. My hope is that by contributing to these outcomes, my research will help merge conservation goals and farming practices for managed grasslands in a way that optimizes species diversity for conservation value, hay crop quality, and future carbon sequestration. Thanks for listening to my talk and have a great day.